Hello, good morning everyone and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today we are presenting webinar on Mastering Non-Verbal Communication to Stand Out and Shine, which has been organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to learn and gain knowledge about non-verbal communication and its relation to image, demonstrate negative and positive expressions, and much more. Today, the participants will also develop their own strategies for enhancing professional image using non-verbal communication. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Carolina Tan from Philippines. She is the president of Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy in Philippines. She is an AICI certified image professional and licensed IITTI master trainer. She is also a cum laude graduate of communication program from the University of Santo Tomas Faculty of Arts and Letters. She is a former runway print and commercial model for various projects like Coca-Cola Batman, Louis Vuitton, and MasterCard. She ventured out into real estate projects selling and became a PRC licensed real estate broker in 2006. Formally connected with the Angel Group of companies for 10 years, she is now with Mega World Corporation under the Mega World Brokers Network from 2017 to present. She is an alumna of John Robert Powers International Manila and has been its active consultant at the school for 16 years. Her areas of expertise evolved through the years to now include face-to-face and online coaching, consulting, and soft skills business licensing to qualified clients. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am. Hello, Carolina, ma'am.
Yes, hi, good morning. Good
Yes.
morning, everyone. We do have an intro video to play from Hemal.
Okay, right now you have to play the video, ma'am.
Yes, the intro video, the one that I sent Hemal.
The intro video you have sent to Hemal, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Shall we share it after some time, ma'am, if you don't mind?
I am sorry.
Because I have only your first and second video, right? I don't have your introduction video.
Okay, why don't I share it from my end?
Yes,
Let me
yes,
see.
ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be able to see you online, or at least be with you in thoughts and in spirit. Hello, India. Mabuhay from Metro Manila, Philippines. I'm Carolina Tan, AICICIP, and I'm pleased to be your speaker for today's webinar. Allow me to share back the screen. Okay, so everyone, today's title is Mastering Nonverbal Communication to be able to stand out and shine. So once again, as an advance notice, if you have questions, feel free to type it in, because our moderators will be keeping track of them so that we will be able to address them in a few minutes. Okay, so what are our 5 learning outcomes for today? Beginning with the first one, we want to be able to define nonverbal communication and its relation to image. Number 2, we want to be able to demonstrate negative versus positive gestures. Third, we want to identify the 4 basic types of nonverbal communication. Moving to our 4th learning outcome, we want to be able to illustrate concrete examples for strengthening first impressions. Because you and I, all of us, we are never given a second chance to make a good and lasting first impression. And lastly, number 5, we want all of you hearing us, watching us, and joining us today to be able to develop your own strategies for enhancing professional image using nonverbal communication. Okay, so moving forth, these are our 5 learning outcomes. So please do take note, because we will be covering them one by one. Just to share a little bit, this was me for 16 long years, covering the years 1995 to 2011. I used to represent an international personality development school at the time called John Robert Powers. So these were the days and the photos taken during those sessions, whether it be small group, whether it be an in-class session, whether it be a corporate session outside. So this is what we have been doing. Followed by, in 2011, by God's grace, we were blessed to have established Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy. So that's our personal company specializing in 3 areas of image. So that was in 2011. So just like our AICI Philippine chapter, our company is also celebrating 10 years this 2021. And these were photos taken from the times when yours truly used to be a talent, used to be a model, and used to be a co-host for a celebrity talk show on television. So from magazines to television, as a communications graduate, it just felt fitting, because that was in line with my course. But on the side, I would work for productivity and, of course, like sustenance through the world of modeling. So from print modeling, okay, from pictorials to lifestyle modeling, endorsing particular brands, whether real estate, whether specific products for a company, being their brand ambassador. So those were the work then, including endorsing also international brands such as Louis Vuitton when they opened a store here in Manila, and also like doing runway shows for Emporio Armani and another like solo endorsement for MasterCard. So all of this happened in a span of many years. And right now, what you can see on screen, we are proud to show you one of our batches for ET Business Level 1, which is under the International Image and Etiquette Standards, okay, or International Soft Skills Standards and Testing, which is what we call nowadays. And in 2018, I was also granted by the International Soft Skills Trainer Accreditation of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, of being its licensed ET Master Instructor for the Republic of the Philippines. And what you see on screen is from the Association of Image Consultants International, which is the world's largest and leading organization of personal and professional image consultants. So I got this certificate in 2018 as well. So we are among the 4 here in the Philippines who's also AICICIP. So what you can see on screen right now is reminiscent of what we call Starry Night. So what does it mean? When we actually pause for a moment and internalize. Many times, you and I have been going through life so busy. All of you from Parul Polytechnic University, I know all of you are so focused and serious on your studies, right? So you have been working very hard, you've been studying so much, and for sure, you want to accomplish like much up ahead. So let me momentarily pause here for now. And what I'll do is I will actually stop sharing for now. And I want us to literally look into the next screen, the tab that I will be sharing. And I just want you to literally, hold on. How are you going to answer this? What words come to mind when you hear of nonverbal communication? So again, what words come to your mind when you hear of nonverbal communication? So let me paste the link here in the chat box. So there you go. If you have your handheld phones with you, which most of you do have for sure, I just want you to be able to answer this. So what words come to mind when you hear nonverbal communication? You know, you can answer in 2, 3, 4, 5 words, okay? So what thoughts come to your mind when you hear of nonverbal communication? Anyone? Or you can type it in our chat box. Do we have any answers so far? What words come to mind when you hear of nonverbal communication? Example. You may actually answer something like this. Okay, and it will appear on screen.
Yes, it can be facial expressions.
Yes, facial expressions. So let's write it down. And then what other answers do we see?
Space.
Space, okay. Any other answered?
Eye contact.
Oops. Eye contact, okay.
Body movement and posture.
Body movement and posture, that's wonderful. Let me stop sharing for now and just look at everyone. So body movement, posture, yes, poise, you know, space, all of this are related to what we call nonverbal communication. And today we are all very blessed. You are all very blessed because we are given this amount of time to be able to share so much. Okay, so thank you so much for those answers. Job well done. So now allow me to pull back my screen and continue on with our slides. So right now, what you can see is what is nonverbal communication. So here you see on screen like 3 individuals in open discussion, looking at one another. Okay, so what is nonverbal communication? According to Wikipedia, so it is the non-linguistic, okay, transmission of information through visual, what we can see, auditory, what we can hear, tactile, what we can touch, and kinesthetic channels through movements. So here we see 4 different aspects: visual, auditory, tactile, and kinesthetic channels. So moving forth, learning outcome number 1. We want to be able to define nonverbal communication and its relation to image. So here on screen, you can see it with the figures flashed on screen. They're actually forming certain words, and the words go, say it with body language. So how are we? How are you and I going to say it with body language? You know, a very simple thing that we can do is looking at the screen right now, as I'm looking at you, is to simply smile. And when you smile, you want the muscles of the face to really work. We want it to relax, and we want to give a natural smile, such as when you say, a smile can actually paint 1,000 words. According to our International Association, AICI, it says here, your image is more than your appearance. So much of what you do and say contributes to the impression you make. Whether it be a positive one, whether it be a negative one, you are adding to it, to that impression. So, moving forth, do you know, according to Paul Ekman, from his book Emotions Revealed, there are actually what we call 6 different types of facial expressions. So looking at this slide, when you are feeling joyful, contrary to that, the extreme is when you're feeling so sad and sorrowful, such as when tears come running onto your face. So joy and sorrow are the first 2 facial expressions, followed by when you literally get terrified and you are so fearful, fear. And on the opposite end of that, when someone agitates you and you blow off your steam, when we feel angry, okay, anger is actually the next one. So again, first 2, joy and sorrow, next 2, fear and anger, followed by the last 2, surprise, such as when somebody greets you and it's your birthday and they've given you a cake. So that's a happy surprise. 2, what you call disgust, okay? So when you actually are repelled, when you are turned off by something, you're actually disgusted by it. You may actually want to check out the book of Charles Darwin, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. It once again has an intro and a foreword by Paul Ekman at the same time. Okay, so feel free to add this to your readings if you want to know a little bit more as to the history, as to how these emotions and expressions came to be. So, according to our source, Universal Emotions, we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? We look at not just 6, but 7. And one thing that we've added here is the word in yellow, which is what we call enjoyment, which is a positive feeling. So imagine, everyone, participants, do you mind looking at each of these photos and, you know, try to copy them? Try to copy the lady showing an angry, you know, showing anger in her face, followed by contempt. Okay? What about the man who's actually disgusted when he's doing like that? And the one who exudes enjoyment, showing all teeth and smiles, to fear with, you know, big eyes, okay? Looking, having that look of like caught unaware. And the 6th one here is the look of sadness, when you are just resigned. Okay, so, and surprised. Okay, once again, big eyes. Fear and surprise have something in common in the sense that they've got big eyes in terms of expression. So I trust that you at least have tried 1, 2, several, if not all of these expressions. Once again, this is very good exercise for our facial muscles. So have you tried? Okay, which one do you find easiest? So let us know. Moving forth. Okay. Let me stop sharing at the moment. Okay, so may we request for video number 1 to be played, please? Vaishali?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second.
Everyone, please watch this video. We have a better audio when it's coming from your end. This is a pre-recorded video that I did a few weeks back, and I wanted to share it with all of you. So feel free to follow.
Is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, it is. You can make it into full screen though. Thank you.
Yes.
About the hands. How do we position our hands, whether you are standing or sitting or being photographed? Take note of the following points. Some examples of hand positions. First, both hands on the sides. With this position, make sure that both your thumbs are actually seen. You don't do this as we go closer and closer. You don't do this to your thumb. You don't hide it. Rather relaxed. Both hands on the sides. Thumbs showing. Next position, number 2. Cup hands position. In this instance, right hand is on top of the left. And let me show you another variation. This time around, left hand cupped over the leg. You don't want to place this too close to your chest, as it will thicken it and make you look wider. Angle it a little below the waist level. Next, we have what we call interlaced. Interlaced is when we do this to our hands and fingers. Other times, we also term this as laced hands position. From this position, we move on to the fourth one, which is what we call crossed arms position. This is how we do the crossed arms position. If you notice, the fingers are actually seen. I am not hiding it, because this can actually make one look very intimidating, if not bossy. Again, expose and show your fingers. Next one we have is what we call a T-square. How do you do a T-square? Simply like this. Elbow of the left near the outer arm, near the outer palm and wrist of the right hand. And this is another version or an alternate T-square. This time around, shifting both arms, right elbow on the back of the palm of the left hand, and with the thumb slightly on your chin. You're not literally putting your weight down, but just relaxing like this. Now, another position for the hands, which is quite common, especially for boys and men, is what you call the hands in the pockets version. So how do you put your hands in your pockets? Assuming you do have a pocket, don't just simply tuck the entire hand in. Because in the hands in pocket position, make sure that the thumb is actually seen. So you want to be able to expose the thumb. So if you're going to tuck the rest of the fingers, make sure the thumb is actually seen. So again, hands in pocket position, make sure one finger or the thumb is actually seen. Other times, another version for that would be, you can keep the thumb in and keep the remaining 4 fingers exposed. Again, that's another variety for the hand position. We have 2 more left. So the next one goes hand on waist. Hand on waist simply means that you rest one hand on your waist, such as this, or this. And lastly, another type of hand position would be hand on hip position. And I'm doing it with my opposite hand, hand on hip position. It's a very relaxed way of placing our hands. You are not putting the weight in. And this is not modeling. We are not doing photo posing, such as this, but everything is relaxed. So again, it's the bottom line when it comes to the use of hands and how you position them. What's important is how you actually feel and how you make use of your body to make sure that you are able to convey a positive body language. The mere use of hands and its positioning give us all an idea and positive tips as to how you can best present yourselves when in front of people. Thank you for sharing that, Vaishali. Allow me to share and go back to my window here. Thank you. So moving forth, next one. So what we see here are the words, but wait, because there's more. So what do we mean there's more? Learning outcome number 3, everyone. We want to be able to identify the 4 basic types. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 basic types of nonverbal communication. Okay, so if you are ready, let's move forth. The first one, okay, we see on screen, kinesics, okay? So kinesics, what is kinesics? This has to do with the study of body movements. So once again, kinesics, the study of body movements, such as when you look at the various figures on screen. When one is thinking, and then when one says yes, okay, raising both hands. And when one says, oh no, and so much more. And when you are praying, God, please. So these are all examples of the study, or these are all examples of movements. So, hold on. Allow me to go back. So when we actually go to these many types of movements, what we can actually see here are what we call in example, okay, in terms of photo, looking at a real live example, this is an interaction between 4 people in the group, right? So whether 2 ladies are actually extending a hand, shaking the hand, and then with the gentleman with his eyes on the paper, okay? So looking or reading at something, and with the other, like a lady with the wavy hair, okay? Smiling and looking and gazing across. These are all examples of movements. So whether they know each other, whether it's a new scenario that they've gotten to know each other or meet each one, just right now, impromptu, so we don't know the whole story. Number 2 is what we call proxemics. So looking at this on screen, what is proxemics? This has to do with the study of cultural, behavioral, and sociological aspects, okay, of what we call spatial distances between individuals. So how far or how near are you when it comes to others? So it's very important to be able to be comfortable when we are actually in the company of others, and also when we happen to be in a group. Look at this. The term was first invented by anthropologist Edward Hall. So if you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 different color categories. So beginning with the one on the leftmost, okay, in peach, you see the arrow and it says there intimate space. When you are within 1.5 feet of distance from one another, so that's literally almost like face to face. So that's what you call your intimate zone. Next to that, when you are within 4 feet, okay, of distance, this is what you call the one in yellow-orange, personal space. Followed by, in green, we have what we call the social space, okay? When we need to keep our physical distancing from one another, okay? So because of this pandemic and because we have to be careful of safety measures, then we keep within the social space, which is what we call within the 12 feet of distance of space. And when we are out there in the public, okay, so whether you are giving a talk, whether you're going to a museum, whether you are doing a public outdoor activity, okay, with your group, with your friends. So you are actually into the public zone because that's within like 25 feet or even more. So once again, these are the 4 spaces, okay, when it comes to proxemics: intimate space, personal space, we have social space, and public space. So look at this photo. So we see professionals, right? They could be business people, okay, executives like holding like mid-management to top positions. The venue looks very conducive to actually doing business. For all you know, they could be holding this particular event or meeting at a hotel. It's highly possible. It could even be a pre-cocktail event prior to entering a ballroom of a hotel. So looking at this male and female, okay, they are keeping their distance, right? Because when we are actually doing business, we don't want to become too close for comfort because that may actually like terrify another person. So we have to be careful when it comes to the way we stand and how we actually position ourselves when we are actually like in front of others. And if you notice, like those sitting on the high chairs, okay, with their respective tables, they are discussing, okay, and they are in a much closer zone because this is with the assumption that they know each other and they feel comfortable with one another. So, and you'd notice even the ladies, okay, those that are actually standing at the back, they are keeping their distance. They are being mindful of where they stand. And this is actually the third one, okay? The third one, which is what we call para-language. So looking at this comic on screen, what we see here is a person, okay, quote unquote. This concludes my lecture on nonverbal communication. Any comments or questions? Okay, we are being asked. So what is para-language? Okay, what is para-language? This is the third one. So para-language has to do with the study. Okay, so let me move this. The study of the nonverbal cues of the voice. Okay, so once again, para-language is the study of the nonverbal cues of the voice. And at this point, I want us to watch a very short clip. I know you and I, for sure, will be very familiar with this clip because for some reason, you and I must have seen it in the past. Okay, so let me stop sharing. And right now, may I request for Vaishali once again? Ma'am, do you mind playing our video number 2, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, let's watch this.
Is it visible, ma'am?
I am waiting, so it's loading, and yes, we can see. Do you mind playing it in full screen, ma'am? Thank you.
It's not much, but it's home. I think it's brilliant.
Where have you been? How wonderful to see you, dear. Bed's empty, no note, car gone. You could have died. You could have been seen. Of course, I don't blame you, Harry, dear.
Your scar is legend, as of course is the wizard who gave it to you. Voldemort killed my parents. He was nothing more than a murderer. You must be very brave to mention his name. Oh, very foolish.
Fear of a name only increases fear of the thing itself.
And you must be Miss Gravenger.
You were seen by no less than 7 muggles. Do you have any idea how serious this is? You have risked the exposure of our world. Not to mention the damage you inflicted on a Whomping Willow that's been on these grounds since before you were born.
Training for the ballet, Potter. Listen. Son, terrible things are about to happen at Hogwarts. Harry Potter must not stay here now that history is to repeat itself.
Repeat itself? You mean this has happened before?
I shouldn't have said that.
Thank you so much for that. So everyone, that was a clear example of what we call paralanguage. Okay, so once again, it's an example of what we call paralanguage. So when you hear of the different tones, okay, like how it is said, okay, whether fast, slow, high pitch, low pitch, volume, inflection, okay, and all of this. So that actually gives life and meaning to what we are saying, because basically that actually brought it to life when we talk of paralanguage. So the next one, okay, which is actually the fourth one, okay, the fourth type of nonverbal communication. This is what we call haptics, okay? So looking at this comic once again, the woman on the left said, and she's thinking, of course, in her mind, should have shook hands. And then the other, the male with the eyeglasses, he said, should have bowed. So what is happening, okay, in this particular screen? So haptics is the study of touching in nonverbal communication. Now, don't get me wrong. When we say touching, okay, whether it be like a pat on the shoulders, okay, whether it be high five, okay, or whether it be a fist bump. So depending on how you actually connect with others, so that by all means is a separate example all its own. But remember, in nonverbal communication, haptics, or the way we touch people, okay, also plays a role. So imagine, look at this particular screen, okay? When you look at the professional, okay, person, when it's functional / professional, that means people are in business. You're actually extending a handshake, and then the handshake is met by the other party. You're on equal footing. Okay, so functional and professional. So the second one, upper right, we have when we actually hug. Okay, when we hug, when we kiss on the cheeks, okay, family members, loved ones, okay, this is what we call social / polite, okay, haptics. So that is something that we limit to those people that we are actually in close contact with. The third one, okay, lower left, when you are actually hugging, okay, and placing your arm against the other's shoulder. For all you know, you've been best friends for life. So hence, friendship / warmth. And then lastly, number 4, okay, this is actually something which we call reserved for couples, for husband and wives, which has to do with love or intimacy. Okay, so again, another form of haptic. Whether you actually kiss each other on the lips, whether you hug each other so tight in an embrace. So once again, this is something reserved for those we hold very, very dear to us. Okay, so going back to our window. So once again, those are the 4 different types of nonverbal communication. Now, okay, it's a segment. Okay, wait. Before we actually get to that part, let me just point out that we do have something here, which is we want to share a little bit of bonus for all of you. Because remember, in our learning outcome, it only said 4, okay, subtypes, okay, or types of nonverbal communication. But right now, what we want to share with all of us is something that is more, okay, which is what we call a bonus. So a bonus is an add-on, it's a plus. Because we appreciate you and we thank you for joining us today, we have what we call chronemics. Okay, so here on this screen, you might be wondering, okay, what is this person doing? How come he's actually literally on the hour hand of the clock? And it says here, you can't stop time. Actually, nobody can. We cannot stop time. Once time starts, it continues to tick and it keeps going. No one can stop it. Chronemics is the study of time in communication, because believe it or not, it is a factor in nonverbal communication. How come some people, they can be early, they can be on time, Whereas the others, it could be a cultural thing that it's okay to actually be late. So again, depending on one's culture, where you and I are from, so when you say chronemics, this is actually a subcategory. Some cultures are more monochronic, such as in the US, okay, when they do one thing at a time, when they are very particular with time, you know, you stick to a particular schedule or a meeting. When you say 10 a.m., 10 a.m. is 10 a.m., so you have to be signed in before 10 a.m. By 10:01, everybody starts talking. So you are focused on tasks. And completion of the job is certainly very important. And once again, promptness is actually emphasized here because it's critical in doing business, in our relations with others. That's as far as the monochronic culture goes. What about the polychronic culture? What is that? In India in particular, okay, do you think you belong to the monochronic or the polychronic? You know, I am a Filipino and I hail from Manila, Philippines. In our country, we are more polychronic. So what is that? We can do multiple activities at once. You know, I could be replying to a client on email and answering an SMS like in social media. We are more flexible when it comes to time. And of course, although we do have an agenda when it's business related, when it's meeting, but sometimes when something comes along the way and that we need to be more flexible and adjust, we are okay with that. We focus on relationships. We value human connection. Relationships is something very important. And we actually base our promptness on relationships, okay? By the way, this is care of Thomas Bureau of Radford University. Would you believe he coined this word chronemics in the late 1970s to help us define the function of time when it comes to human interaction? You know, just to give you an example, when we go to the doctor's office, and we know very well today more than ever, in times of pandemic, doctors, medical practitioners, those in the front line are very much valued and loved. They can make patients wait. And you and I, when we need to see doctors, we don't mind waiting because we know time is precious and they could be very, very busy and engaged with many other patients before they come and see us. Would you believe? This is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th one, which is what we call olfactics. Perhaps you already have a clue what this is all about, looking at the photo on screen. When you can actually sniff something, what is that? It's the study of nonverbal communication through scent, okay, and smell. Don't you want to look good? I don't know about you, okay, and not only look good, but also feel good and smell good. I have a habit of spraying like light scents, okay, or even like a mild perfume, even if doing online sessions. Why is that? Because I want to be able to feel the moment, such as when you spray something on your wrist and you want to actually smell good. Looking at this photo, the next one, poor lady in the middle that got squished. Of course, we are assuming this is pre-pandemic times because they're not wearing a face mask, okay? And being so tightly closed in a public transport system. Can you imagine what a poor soul to actually be sniffing the body odor of another? So once again, we have to be very cautious and also be particular of our personal hygiene because this olfactics, okay, has to do with the way we relate to others. It's a subtle way of saying nonverbal communication also matters. Number 7, okay, as part of our bonus. So we are giving you like a 1, 2. This is the 3rd bonus, okay? Oculesics, okay? Looking at the eyes. Perhaps you already have an idea what this is. The study of eye movement, okay? Eye behavior, such as when you blink, when you wink, okay? When you close your eyes and open. Gaze. When you do a stare down and look at another, of course, we don't do that. That's very rude. And other eye-related nonverbal communication, once again, has to do with the eyes, oculesics. So, whether you do power gazing, when it is on the upper portion of the forehead, okay, the triangle, okay, the triangular portion on the forehead, okay, the eyes and the forehead, power gaze. When it's a social gaze, it's eyes to the lips. And when it's an intimate gaze, okay, it's eyes down to the chest area. So again, these are the three different types of gazing, whether it's a power gaze, a social gaze, or an intimate gaze. Moving forward, okay, number 4, it says here, illustrate concrete examples for strengthening first impressions. Because it says here, you will never get a second chance to make a first impression. So how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we strengthen first impressions? At the beginning, I gave you a simple tip, and that is to simply smile. And when we smile, we work the muscles of the face. Another concrete example of nonverbal communication to strengthen first impressions is to look at people in the eyes. And right now, yes, it may feel like I'm doing a monologue, but I trust that we do have participants watching us and hearing us online, and I'm actually looking at my external webcam, and therefore, hello, participants, okay? So I'm Carolina. It's great to be here, and I'm happy that you are actually online with us. So it's a simple, okay, direct eye-to-eye contact, okay, not in a physical sense, but yours truly looking at my camera. And this is my way of saying hi. And when I do a wave and say hello, so again, this is a way to strengthen what we call first impressions. Because many times you and I may not know it. You and I have a tendency to mirror each other, which means that when you see somebody do this, this may actually signal a negative body language, such as, I am bored. Okay, it could mean I am bored. Okay, so what else is there up ahead? So when you do this, the next thing you know, another person is also doing this. So we don't want the negative aura to actually rub off. Rather, we want to keep it at a high note and to stay positive. So it says here, sometimes it's what you don't say that counts. Okay, so sometimes it's what you don't say that counts. Nonverbal communication, okay? So when we interact with others without the use of words, but only through our physical gestures, okay, through our facial expressions, through our body movement, we are able to relay a positive message. So now the question is, who are you today? So learning outcome number 5, okay, before we wrap, we have here, develop your own strategies for enhancing professional image using nonverbal communication. So how are you going to use the principles learned today to be able to come up with your own definite strategies for enhancing professional image? So again, this can sometimes be cultural. When I say that, as an example, usually in Western society, when we see somebody do this, which is a head nod, that means yes. I know in India, you actually do the head bubble, right? So when you do this, that also means you're in agreement. So that's your own way, culturally, of saying yes. And we also know for a fact, example, in India, you don't do finger pointing because that's considered rude. You rather point with a thumb, right? When somebody asks you which way to go, there. So you actually use your thumb to do that. So with this being said, let me just share a quote, okay? This is from the Bible, one of my best and most favorite books of all time. So regardless of the version that you're using, I'm using the national, the international, okay, the NIV, okay, version. Philippians 2:13, it says here, for God, we have a great Lord, okay? For God is working in you, okay? God is working in you, in us, giving us the desire and the power to do what pleases Him. Again, this is from Philippians 2, verse 13. And to review, these are our learning outcomes. We were able to define nonverbal communication and its relation to image. We were able to demonstrate negative versus positive gestures in the video that you've seen. We were able to identify the 4 basic types of nonverbal communication. We gave you 3 more as a bonus. Followed by, we were able to illustrate concrete examples for strengthening first impressions. Followed by, this will fall to you, will fall in your hands. The 5th learning outcome, which is develop, okay, your own strategies for enhancing professional image using nonverbal communication. Before we actually do the Q&A, allow me to share this screen. Everyone, if you have your handheld phones with you, may I suggest that you open your QR code scanner and you actually scan this. This is given to us by the International Soft Skills Standards and Testing. Do you know, would you believe that all of you who are joining us live today is blessed to actually earn and claim your +1 World Civility Index point. So once again, before I click on to the next slide, please scan this, okay? If it cannot be scanned in your phone for some reason, what you do is you go to the site, you go to the website iitti.org/EYI, okay? That will lead to our company site, okay? Care of ET. You create an account. When you don't have an account yet, create an account. And then, of course, you have to have a username, a password. Please save and remember that. And then what you do is you log in. After you've logged in, you can go to My Info. And then what you do is you scan the QR code. This is what you will be getting after you've scanned the QR code. This is an example, okay, from a previous talk that we've had. And this has to do with World Civility Index. So you can see here in the activity, this is for WAVE, or what we call Work Attitude and Values Enhancement. World Civility Index +1. So that means it's a bonus. We are giving this because IITTI loves us. And this is not free because typically this has a cost of US $1 per WCI. But for today, we're giving it for free for those of you participating and joining us from Parul. So when you actually do this, like what most of my clients here in the Philippines are doing, you will earn your +1, +1, +1 World Civility Index points, such as this group that you see on screen. So don't forfeit the chance to earn it, especially when it's still free. Okay, so just to let you know, from our end to yours, courtesy of Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy, we specialize in 3 areas, okay? First is private coaching, which is what you see on screen, whether it's handling a male client, okay, an executive, whether it's oh, by the way, like the lady that we have here is of Indian nationality as well, but she's currently based here in the Philippines with her husband. So she's a young wife at that. And also like the other female, okay, on the lower right is attending our diplomatic event for private coaching. Followed by, this is what happens when we do the second aspect, okay, of our work and business, which is corporate training. And lastly, okay, what we do, and we have been doing from 2019 to now, is what we call online learning. This is also what you and I are doing right now, when we are actually meeting each other on an agreed day and time, and we actually like tune in and log in to the various like online apps, okay, and platforms that we are using, such as Google Meet, okay, for today. And if you are serious, okay, for Parul University participants, pretty soon you will be entering the workforce. You may want to consider being certified. And when we say certified, this is earning your global certification that you can have a bragging right for, not only in India, but also overseas, internationally, and around the world. So IITTI is proud to present, okay, for international certification, our global standard on soft skills for improving professional image. When you take the training and you pass the online exams, this is what you will get. I am showing you real examples of our clients who have passed, and with their certificates, you will see that you have earned first-level international certification in professional image, business protocol, and dining etiquette. And if you notice, WCI, what you will earn, like from our male and female participants, 70 World Civility points. And WCI is very important because it shows and tells the world how connected we are, and that you and I value soft skills, and that you took the time to really be trained, and that you are very much invested in your skill and what you can contribute. So with that being said, please do follow me, Carolina Tan, or our Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy. Like us at Facebook, okay? You can follow me at LinkedIn, okay, at Twitter. I also have an IG page. And once again, this has been Carolina Tan, okay, on Mastering Nonverbal Communication to Stand Out and Shine. Thank you so much, Parul Polytechnic Institute, Department of Applied Sciences and Humanities. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your valuable time. It will help our students as well as faculties to move ahead in future related to communication. Yes, ma'am, there are 1 or 2 questions from our end. One of the students wants to ask that what are the barriers of non-verbal communication?
Barriers of non-verbal communication, okay? You know, like depending on the situation where you are at, there could be many barriers. Like to give an example, a physical desk or a chair, when it stands between 2 people, that's already considered a physical barrier, right? When you extend the handshake and you have to like literally extend your hand across a table, that is actually a barrier. Instead of standing up, going around a physical barrier and literally approaching the person, that gives warmth, that actually shows sincerity, and that is actually something that is taken, you know, like positively. So do not allow any physical barrier to actually come between you and another person. So that's just one example.
Okay. And the last one, ma'am. According to you, what is the most powerful non-verbal communication? You have given lots of examples today, right?
Yes.
Yes. So according to you, which is the most powerful non-verbal communication?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Very relevant. And I appreciate all your questions and for being active participants. You know, like if I may say so, as an image consultant, as a real estate broker, as a mother, as a trainer, as a woman, we cannot single out just one type of verbal, non-verbal communication. Why is that? Because we cannot just communicate just by smiling or just by looking with the eyes. Body language usually happens in clusters. So when we say clusters, you know, depending on the situation, when we are online, such as this, of course, I am limited because what you see is actually me from the chest up. Of course, so what I can do is I can go closer to my camera because what goes closer to the camera lens appears larger. I can move back and relax, but I will appear like shorter and I will shrink, right? If I actually do this, imagine I will actually shrink. The next thing you know, you only see my head, no neck and no upper torso. So we don't want that. So body language is really something that is very rich that we can use to stand out and shine when we do this with caution and when we do this being mindful of how others may feel and what others may actually think. So please take note of the scenario where you are. Like right now, I know not just in India, but also here in the Philippines, COVID cases are still rising. We still have several thousands, like, you know, in a day. You and I need to be cautious of our physical, social distancing. We have to take care of our health. So when we do meet face-to-face, we actually limit the amount of time that we are literally face-to-face. Like before, if you love to take your coffee 1 hour in a coffee shop, maybe right now, in today's time, you actually order something for takeaway, right? So that's what we do. So body language in clusters, but be confident in your own skin. Because when you actually stand tall, when you actually come out looking confident, looking poised, you will deliver and you will stand out and shine.
Okay, sure. Thank you, ma'am, for your guidance.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Yes, I would like to thank the head of our department, Mr. Amil Patel, sir, the HR of our institute, Professor Jatin Vaidya, sir, and President of our university, Dr. Devanshu Patel, sir, for supporting and motivating us for conducting this webinar. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us today and giving us your precious time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.